Thomas Sankara, I'm introducing to you the Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Emancipation Movement and President of the EFF, President Julius Malema. Comrade President.
Amandla, Viva EFF, viva! Long live the fighting spirit of Mambush, long live! Long live the fighting spirit of Marikana workers, long live! Long live the fighting spirit of Winnie Mandela, long live! Happy birthday, EFF, happy birthday! Siaya, FNB Stadium, Siaya! Siaya, FNB Stadium, Siaya! Awe mmucho dirata marukhwana, awe! Awe mmucho dirata marukhwana, awe! Awe mmucho butlona muimele, awe! Amanda! Thank you very much, Comrade Deputy President. Officials of the EFF led by Deputy President Floyd Shibambo, the leadership of the EFF in the province of Northwest. Let me take this opportunity, Comrade Butswe and Papik and your collective, together with the leadership of the Bujanala region and all regions, to thank you for putting together this beautiful event during the week, during working hours, exposing this government of the day that our people are unemployed. That's why they are here at 1 o'clock during working hours. All of you ground forces, you have done your best. The people of Marikana, the survivors of Marikana, some of them have joined us here on the stage. The Marikana widows, President of Pudemo, and our special guest, Bishop Sioka, who has been with the people of Marikana before and after the massacre. Leaders of the Central Command Team and the War Council, we greet you today with the deepest sense of humility, and we are here reminded of a tragic and brutal loss we suffered as a people on this land 11 years ago. Comrade, today I'm not going to give a long speech because I'm going to speak on Saturday at the FNB Stadium. Today we are here to dance and celebrate so that the enemy looking at us from a distance must feel the chest pains. Because they said the EFF stand for Ifita Fela, Ifita Iya Kai Isalitingi 10 years down the line. It was 11 years ago when we came here after the Marikana workers were butchered, executed, and the nation was left with no sense of humility. The nation was shocked as to how a regime that was once the hope of liberation could resort to cold-blooded murder to crush the workers' protest. What pains us more is that no one has been held accountable to date. If anything, others were promoted to the highest office in the land. Dipiludi Salebutuku, Wababa, Wagalaka, and indeed it is still painful and fresh in our mind. Marawutaluka. Yahuya Yemwe Ainoni. Comrades, our coming here is amongst other things to remind them of the heartless atrocities they've committed on this beautiful land and left us with a permanent ugly scars. Happy 10th birthday to the 26th July movement of both here in South Africa, and we also celebrate the Cuban Revolution. Today is the actual birthday of the EFF, and we mark it here at Marikana Kopi through the traditional celebration. We have slaughtered more than 15 cows and made a traditional beer, umkomboti, as a practice of offering a sacrifice. We are in Marikana to thank the originators of EFF's life for all the blessings. We are equally here to atone for mistakes made, shameful acts done, and to ask for forgiveness. We appreciate all the awarding of gifts we are blessed to be given thus far by the departed. The cow has the power to connect the living with the departed, since it is a medium through which a number of rituals are carried out in the African traditions. This ritual have to do with the living and the dead, a passage of teenagers to adulthoods, weddings, thanksgiving, burials, symbolically bringing up the dead to oversee the current nation. Our Marikana ancestors will reward this offering and sacrifice because it is a proof that we are able to share with the people of our beautiful land. This is an enhancement of humanity as perceived by most Africans. The cow, so intertwined with the life of the people, is used in communicating with God and the chosen departed who are asked to intercede for us. The cow is considered to have the power to attract the attention of the deceased who supervise the life and the welfare of the living. They are perceived to insist that there will be compliance to the type of life recommended by the vanguards of our nation through families. After this slaughtering, we expect all of you, ground forces of the EFF and all leaders of the EFF, to fear shame, love one another, integrity, respect for people, property, animals, nature, peace, compassion, justice, and life. Our people understand slaughtering as a means of connecting with the departed, who are a conduit of our needs to the one who appeared first. Through the departed, who qualify to observe the elements of expected behavior listed above. There is an understanding that the chosen departed also act positively on behalf of those who are well behaved, even when they, the deceased, have not been approached. The departed will never reward a family in conflict with itself. The departed love a united family. The departed who were killed here want to see a united working class. Slaughtering is done to thank the departed for the good news, protecting people who are celebrated, endowing them with the capacity to succeed. I never said Biopsioka, we are here to worship, but rather I said we are here to observe our customs. We must not allow races or cultures to force, we must not allow other races and cultures to force us to abandon our customs, as they can feel as though their culture is superior to ours. Comrades, the land we are on today is a sacred land. It's nourished by the blood of a brave few who stood when standing meant a merciless death and execution. We stand here today in the shadow of this copy, and we are reminded that South Africa's democracy will always have a dark shadow of the Marikana moment, and no one can ever escape it. On the 16th of August 2012, we watch our brothers, our sons, husbands, and breadwinners executed live on television as a result of a toxic collision between the state and Lonmin mine. We thought it all came to an end when there was a shout by a white man shouting at black policemen, saying ceasefire, as revolutionaries laid lifeless with bullets filling their bodies, only to find out that our brothers who survived the first shooting were hunted down and killed and had weapons planted next to them in an attempt to portray them as violent threat. The pain of that day remains with us, and it will never go away. The pain of that day gave birth to the EFF, and that is why we are here today, to free the hearts of the spirits that were killed on the 16th of August 2012. We are here to tell our brothers that we miss them and will continue to love them, and in their honor we have slaughtered cows to free their spirits from the pain that visited them on that day. Symbolically, we are here today to thank the spirit of those who were slain on this land in defense of private interest and profit maximization. We have not slaughtered because we simply seek to feast, but we have slaughtered as a means of sacrifice and respect. The cows have been slaughtered here are an offering to the slain man workers of Marikana. We have slaughtered here today because it is part of our traditions to slaughter when we seek to connect with those who came before us, when we seek their guidance, wisdom, and or when we wish to offer our gratitude. The EFF is internally grateful to the mine workers because it is their sacrifice that gave birth to this economic emancipation movement. We owe our existence to their fearlessness and attitude of no retreat, which showed our nation that indeed the struggle for liberation had been betrayed. Comrades, the EFF will forever seek the wisdom and guidance of those who came before us, because without them we are nothing. We have therefore slaughtered here today to say to the workers who were killed here in Marikana that we still seek their guidance and their wisdom in the wars to come. We have slaughtered to appease their spirits and assure them that they did not die in vain. The sacrifice of the slain Marikana workers has given life to a new revolution in South Africa, and that revolution is here in the form of the EFF. We were asked by the workers of Marikana, who included Kolan, who's here on stage, to build a political alternative before it even occurred to us that this was necessary. When I came here with Floyd Shibambo and the late Magaka, we met the workers there, and Tolan was the one who was facilitating the interaction between us and the workers. We came to show our compassion and our solidarity and our love. To our surprise, those workers were not shaken. They only asked us one thing. They said, please open a political party. We want to follow you. We want an alternative to a dead ANC. And we responded by forming the EFF. When we came here to talk to the workers, there was no thinking, no any idea of forming a political party until these workers insisted in our presence that this marks the end of a formal liberation movement, and the blood that was shed here will give rise to a militant and radical organization that will represent the defenseless masses of our people. It was almost as if they had made a prophecy that the liberation movement will not be capable of self-correcting and had surrendered itself to capital. We took that mandate from those workers and began to have a consultation with activists from all over South Africa on what is to be done. It was on this day 10 years ago that we gathered at Uncle Tom's Hall and took a decision to form an organization that will contest political power and deliver the much needed economic freedom to our people. The delegates at Uncle Tom's Hall have had a deep appreciation that Marikana was the seed that will become this mighty organization that turns 10 years old here today. Comrades, Marikana is the home of the EFF, and nothing can ever change or distort that history. We were born the moment the blood of the workers was soaked in this land. We were conceived the moment concomitant action was called against protesting workers who were characterized as cruel criminals by a man who today sits as the president of South Africa. The day Cyril Ramaphosa said, these workers are criminals, that is the day the EFF was conceived, and the day they came to kill those workers, that is the day the EFF people. Comrades, we'll have a great celebration here, and we are celebrating those lives which were lost here all those years ago. Comrades, we have created Isibaya because to us this is a home and the center of life of the EFF. When you come in here, you'll find Isibaya where our people are cooking today. Why do you create Isibaya in Marikana? We create Isibaya only at home. That's why there is Isibaya in Marikana created by the EFF, because Marikana is the home of the EFF. Spiritually, political party with deep African roots and traditions, we create Isibaya here in Marikana to affirm this as our spiritual home and where we come from in times of joy and workers, and are here to drive away the dark cloud or pain that may be haunting them. And as a result, the cattle we have slaughtered are inkomo zokubuyisa. As we are celebrating, we say in Isiko, today we say ubutlebe EFF ububona ngenkomo zayo. The fighters, we characterize our home of the destitute. We are the product of the consultation with the mine workers, the domestic workers, the garden workers, cleaners, petrol attendants, and the masses issued a clarion call to economic freedom fighters and all South Africans to stand up and be counted. We observed that the political power that was transferred to the black majority through inclusive election in 1994 was never transformed into economic freedom, as the majority of Africans remain on the margins of society as unemployed, underemployed, or discriminated against in their employment, while those who held economic, social, and political power since the colonial period continue to enjoy economic, social, and professional privileges. The National People's Assembly, on what is to be done, observed that political power in the control of the post-1994 government is meaningless because it has not been used to win the battles that began during the wars of dispossession. Instead, the post-1994 government has played an active role in reproducing the inequalities and the imbalances of the past by not doing anything to transform the economy, opting for superficial changes through black economic empowerment instead. The brave economic freedom fighters who heeded the clarion call to stand up observed that the post-1994 government has weakened its capacity to provide services, drive economic growth and development. Virtually all functions the state should perform are being performed by the private sector and corporations that often collude to suck from the state the little resources at its disposal. The quality of services provided by the post-1994 government, which often leaves private individuals empowered and disempowering communities. It is that historic assembly that determined that the EFF will be a radical, leftist, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist movement with an international outlook anchored by popular grassroots formations and struggle. The EFF is the vanguard of the community and worker struggles and will always be on the side of the people. The EFF will, with determination and consistency, associate with the protest movement in South Africa and will also join in the struggles that defies unjust laws. It is that assembly that determined that the EFF draws inspiration from the broad Marxist-Leninist tradition and Fanonian schools of thought in its analysis of the state, imperialism, culture, and class contradiction in every society. It was in this assembly that we resolved that our organization will be guided by 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars. And allow me, DP, to just state the few and not all 7. Expropriation of South Africa's land without compensation for equal redistribution in use. Nationalization of mines, banks, and other strategic sectors of the economy without compensation. Building state and government capacity, which will lead to the abolishment of tenders. Free quality education, healthcare, houses, and sanitation. Massive protected industrial development to create millions of sustainable jobs, including the introduction of minimum wages in order to close the wage gap between the rich and the poor, close the apartheid wage gap, and promote rapid career path for Africans in their workplaces. Massive development of the African economy and advocating for a move from reconciliation to justice in the entire continent. Open, accountable, corrupt-free government, and society without who we are. And this is the DNA of the EFF, not any distortion of the EFF as a fascist or a being built on anger. The EFF is an ideologically rooted organization, and those who do not appreciate this seek to deliberately distort who we are. We are fought against illicit financial flows, tax avoidance in parliament, because the amount of lying openly that there is no political call you a murderer. There is nothing wrong with calling the ANC murderers. That the court has declared. Every time you see a person with an ANC t-shirt, remind them that they are murderers. They killed people in Marikana. Every time a union leader lies because he wants to form a political party based on a lie, tell that leader that it's a lie. The EFF raised illicit financial flows and tax avoidance in parliament. It was the only party, it was the first party. The ANC members did not know what is illicit financial flows. They did not know what is tax avoidance. We had to run workshops for them because the EFF leads through a superior logic. Comrades, we are the EFF that has formed a labor desk. We are the EFF that is formed the gender-based violence desk, not because we want to form a union. We intervene where unions collide with the management, where unions sleep with the bosses. The EFF comes in to represent the workers. Once the matter is done, we walk away. There is no EFF that said it's going to form a union. If you belong to a union and you belong to an EFF, and there is a leader who says the EFF wants to form a union, that leader is lying. We have our own labor desk, and that labor desk intervene where there are shortcomings of the union. We don't make people pay subscription. We don't make people pay anything. We help our people free of charge. Comrades, we formed the gender-based violence desk because of the violence against women and children in South Africa. The only party that has got a desk that is dedicated and focused on fighting this new disease that is called gender-based violence. And the EFF will continue to do so without apology to anyone. We are the EFF that has marched against Johan Rupert in Stellenbosch and his own companions who have stolen our land and continue to preside over our economy as a minority at the expense of the majority. No political party, no individual has ever spoken against Johan Rupert or marched to the Rupert. No political party or political leader has ever spoken about the Oppenheimers and how much they are stealing here in South Africa. No one has ever spoken about Sibanye in the political parties except the EFF. Why? We are not in the pockets of the white monopoly capital, and we are the only one and the only party that is not being controlled by white monopoly capital. Comrades, we are the only party that fought for the insourcing of the workers in Gqeberha, in Johannesburg, in Tshwane, in many institutions of higher learning. We are going to continue to fight for the insourcing of the workers everywhere where we find temporary workers working for the government, because we don't want you to work without benefits, without pensions, without medical aid. We want every worker to be permanent with benefits. Comrades, is this EFF that has celebrated its 10th anniversary with the most vulnerable in old age homes, in orphanages and centers of disability. No organization has ever celebrated with so many old age homes and orphans, and the last one was in Mafike, where we adopted 20 children who are orphaned, and we are going to take the best schools in Mafike and make sure they've got a better home and their lives are protected. This organization of Marikana has a history of fighting against minds which do not use their resources to uplift the communities surrounding them, marching and confronting Anglo-American and never wavering on the call for the nationalization of minds. We are an organization of the selfless and sacrifice, and that is what must always be known about us. No one can intimidate us. Even those who think they can declare Marikana a no-go area, we are here. Whether they like it or not, we are going to be here until very late at night. Lena balinyaka go tlhompha thaba ela le ayana kwa thabeng la go tlhompha ba ba robetšeng ba ba bolailweng kwa thabeng. That mountain belongs to no one, it belongs to all of us, because if anyone wants to own that Marikana alone, the struggle of Marikana will die a natural death. Let the struggle of Marikana be a struggle of everyone. Do not profit from Marikana's struggle. We don't profit from Marikana's struggle. We are going to make sure that the widows of Marikana continue to live a better life and continue to be respected by all those who must honor their commitments. Some of the widows of Marikana have come to us and said their houses are already falling. Some of them said the commitments that were made have not been received. We are going to follow up all of those things and anyone who has profited from the Marikana widows and anyone who has stolen from the Marikana widows, all of them will be exposed in the name of Mambush, because the honoring of the Marikana widows is the honoring of Mambush. If you respect Mambush, you will never undermine the widows of Marikana. Comrades, let us celebrate, let us rejoice in honor of our fallen heroes who died for the future to live here in Marikana. Many people have come to us and said, why are you not fencing that copy of Marikana as a political party? We can't fence the copy as the EFF because we want the copy to belong to everyone. Only a government can fence that copy, and it will happen when the EFF takes the government of Northwest and the government of South Africa will declare this a national heritage site. We'll make sure that no one tampers with that Marikana. We know the workers of Marikana want 16 August to be the Workers' Day. We will move it and make sure that 16 August becomes a Workers' Day, because that is the day we saw the workers being killed in Marikana. The survivors of Marikana, we will continue to support them. We will make sure that they get what is due to them, and those lawyers who represent them always get our support to make sure that that is what is due to the survivors of Marikana. It is paid to them because they were injured, they were traumatized, they were abused by the government of the day. The government must pay as a government, and Cyril Ramaphosa must pay as an individual who encouraged the killing of our workers here in Marikana. So, of Marikana, next year when we vote, you must say, my vote goes to Marikana, my vote goes to Mambush, my vote goes against those who killed the people of Marikana. Comrades, next year we are making history. Next year is 1994 repeat. You don't know 1994, majority of you. 2024 is your 1994 as the youth of South Africa. You must make sure you come out of your houses. You must make sure you come out in your numbers to restore the government of the people, to make sure that we take government from Sibanye Waters back into the hands of the people. We take government from open the EFF. Must be guided, must not say fail. Why? The people will be at work. They will not have the time to attend a rally. I'm happy, SG, that the rally was organized during the week and during the day. We don't have to say anything. The international community must ask a question. Why so many people during working hours? The answer is simple. They are unemployed. There are no jobs because the government of the day has destroyed the economy of South Africa. Comrades, I salute you. Your coming here is an act of bravery. We don't want cowards in the EFF. We want a fighting machine. We want committed fighters. We want fighters who work the ground. We want fighters who are ready to take government come 2024. Woza 2024, woza. Woza 2024, woza. Tata EFF, Tata. Tata EFF, Tata. Auwe mwisho mashori, auwe. Auwe mwisho maburu, auwe. Who left? Who right? Namasa. Who left? Kita. Kilame. Hiribata bata. rumo, Hasicha. Where were you when I'm shit? Where were you when I'm them? So for skitchy, so for skitchy, Ekati, Kichima, Sibram Konto, Alliance, shoot to kill Ame, shoot to kill, Yamasa, kiss the poor, the farmer, kiss the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.